adopt it.
So we'll call to order. I can tap Nikki here. We just have to look at her. So I'm guessing no citizen comments. No discussion
Like, you
item.
want to comment?
I don't know what we're discussing.
That's fine.
And onto our active agenda that we are not going to vote on due to not having a quorum. Let's talk about the periodic review that Nikki wrote up.
So everyone has a copy in front of them.
Mhm.
She only has that. I think this is all the mayor wanted was, 1 or 2 pages from each city commission and committee to see what's going on. And these must be the sections. And I'm just flying on the basis of what she told us a month ago and maybe even in January. I don't remember. So a list of accomplishments, and Nikki didn't go back 1 year, she went back all 4 years. Review and adoption of the annual ADA transition plan. That's clearly taken up a lot of our time the last few years. And I'm doing a little bit of this review for the benefit of our new council member. This is his first meeting. Attended People First training. Okay, I didn't attend that.
That was the language training
Right.
for you.
Was that at a meeting?
Mhm.
Okay, and I must have missed that meeting. So that was both commissioners and the staff, right? Commissioner presented white cane training to DAC. That would have been Eric who did that. Yeah, except for that first one, these other ones are like within the last 12 months. Discussion of aging in the valley. That's me. I did that one. And letters of support for grant funding applications. I think we did that 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
I would say, because we're not adopting this, but this would be a good time to say what's left out here. I'm almost embarrassed that it says 4 years because that doesn't really show very much. But does anyone think of anything else? We've responded to a few citizen complaints or concerns, haven't we?
I think they've all been Eric's. Which as a citizen, then yes.
Well, yes, I'm not sure we have to specify that, but potholes or curb cuts falling apart or telephone poles in the middle of the sidewalk you can't get around.
Well,
Those sorts
we've
of things.
discussed those things, but I don't know if any of our actions have actually come to.
Well, that's sort of a public works thing.
Because they're still, I believe they're on the public works transition plan.
And I think it's fair, I mean, even though we haven't had like an involved hand in the process with it, but that new app that they're working on, citizen complaint stuff, we've had kind of input regarding that.
That should probably be on here. Yeah.
Well, that's under future goals and action plan.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Yes.
okay.
But it's also something that we've been part of, it's just kind of advising, I can kind of help pull that, but I'm not being critical of this.
I feel like
No, I'm just
since
thinking.
it's still in the works, that we can't consider it exactly an accomplishment.
Okay.
Because it hasn't been accomplished yet.
You're right. If you're going to limit number 1 to things that are done, as opposed to in process and things, then you're entirely correct. Well, if anyone can think of any other things, I almost feel like we were more active the first few years than the last few years, where we had booths at public events and did that one brochure, whatnot. Future goals and action plan. And I think Nikki's kind of, doing the best she can to step out there, because this was supposed to be discussed by us the last month or 2, was like planning for 2025. And we ran out of time at both meetings. Citizen survey regarding accessibility. yes, ADA brochure, updating the one that existed. Advocate for civic optimized citizen reporting program. That'd be the online program that people can go on the city's website and file things that need to be taken care of. They're trying to make it perfect, which is what's taking so long. Like, you know, the complaint would be directed to the appropriate department, who then it would be on a spreadsheet, and then they have 30 days to respond or something and taking care of it. And
I gotcha.
when you create that kind of, or when you desire that kind of thing, Eric keeps wanting them to model it after Washington DC's software. It obviously takes a lot of time.
Is that being done in-house by our IT?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it is. There was some discussion about buying a product, a software, but IT said they could do it.
With the software, I believe that is already purchased.
Right. I think I spoke with Justin. I mean, I didn't, have this context, but I spoke with him briefly, I believe, about this tool itself.
Provide city council with a list of accessibility issues. Yes. Well, now that I see the fifth one, since it came from me, it actually is a part of the fourth one. Yeah, provide them with a list of accessibility issues. But Nikki's listing it separately because I just didn't know that that would be such a battle royal with the Parks Department. Mr. Counselor, that dates back to Election Day.
Yeah, I was gonna say prior to the
In
election.
November, and I was arriving to vote at the community center,
Mhm.
along with somebody else in the service sector, social service sector. I can't remember who it was. She was getting out of her car, and it was crap. We were parked at a distance, so we couldn't help this poor man. But there was a poor man in a wheelchair trying to get into the Lewiston Community Center to vote, and there's no button for the door to electrically open, and so he's trying to pull the door open and then move his wheelchair to try to get through the door.
Oh, goodness.
It was difficult to watch, and he got through the door before we could run up and help him. And it's also sad that I go into the community center, we probably all do occasionally, but I'd never noticed they didn't have electric doors. And not only is it a city building and a public building with a lot of public meetings and the senior nutrition program 3 days a week, but now it's an election, it's a polling site. This shouldn't be so hard for people in wheelchairs. So Nikki took the matter to Parks and Rec, who is in that building, and hence they think they control the building. And what was the answer? Where they just said no?
I can't remember. I know that it was like, whoa, okay. I don't remember this.
We don't have the money, it's not on the plan. The doors, the doors shouldn't be that hard to open. Or, I mean, they just sort of dismissed it, and me, along with this whole commission, it's like, no.
No, that needs to be motorized. That needs to
Yeah,
be
even
electric.
if it can't be done tomorrow, it needs to be budgeted for, because I know that those things aren't super cheap. It's gonna cost a few $1,000s, but it should get done. It's because at the meeting a few months ago, we went through in our heads, like all other city buildings, including City Hall and the Bell Building, they all have this ability, push a button, the door opens. They all have it. We could not think of a single city building, except probably the building that should most have it, the Lewiston Community Center, which attracts so many people. It's just sad.
Yeah, I'll follow up on that. Definitely.
So, and they haven't hired a new parks director yet, have they?
No, interim.
So
Parks director at the moment.
once that gets hired, the new person hopefully will look at it as a no-brainer, so. Well, what do you all think? Those 5 points are probably enough for us to focus on, unless anyone else thinks we're already a third of the way into 2025. Any other projects you think we should?
Actually, didn't we talk about, maybe that's what the brochure part was about, but actually extending information out to the public about what kind of
Community
services.
outreach is
Yeah.
smart, yeah. We've been talking about that. We need to figure out a way to effectively administer it.
Nikki was going to look and see if anybody or any department was planning to have booths at the county fair that we could piggyback on to. Because nobody is like automatic every year, but except maybe, didn't she say the fire department? The fire department's up there every single year. The library sometimes has one, city hall sometimes has one. And you're at the end of the city's budget year in September. Well, I think you have to pay the money for the booth. I bet you the city, now that, oh no, they're putting that bond issue on the May ballot, right?
Yep.
Yeah. You guys should look to try to have a booth at the Art Under the Elms.
Huh.
Not to mention everywhere else to get the word out about that. But yeah, if they don't budget for it, we probably have to pay for it out of our own pocket. So I don't know that I'd put it on the list. But hasn't, I wouldn't know how to phrase this, Madam Chair, about Destin from Public Works. Doesn't he just make it a regular routine ask that he brings us the capital projects for the new year, especially the ones that pertain to disabilities? And I don't know what schedule that's on, but it's nice of him to do that, so we're informed and that we endorse it.
And we did just at city council, we just voted on the capital projects, the order of.
For the next budget year,
Right.
starting October. Oh, well, if it's already done.
Well, I don't
then-
know about that. I don't know their time frame
Schedule.
for this, their schedule. But we
Um,
did just vote on that in the last session, the
if it's already
order of
decided, then
urgency.
Dustin probably wouldn't come to us for endorsement as much as just to inform us, so maybe we should leave that out. Shared responsibilities is, yeah, we don't have a connection with any other, nor are we really meant to. We're advisory to the city council alone. Suggested updates.
I don't see any changes there.
Well, is Nikki saying that all four of these bullet points do not currently exist in our commission that established us? I mean, with our powers? We were not given
I
power to
imagine-
review and, because it says there, change the powers and duties of the commission to those things.
I imagine that, I don't know the answer to that. Without her here.
Assist with compliance.
Mhm.
Well, does
I imagine the plan just needs to be updated to more accurately reflect that those are the rules that we would like to be involved in.
Yeah, does anyone have any problem with them?
I
don't, I
like
think,
the way they,
I would just be curious how are they different from what's in there now? What's changed? And do we feel in terms of responding to citizen concerns or when, I guess that just falls under the fourth one, advocating to the council on behalf of the disabled community. Because we can't spend money or make anything happen. We just advocate. Recommendations for on continued existence. You know, I think Nikki brought all this up to us about the mayor wanting all of this back in January. I have to say that this all hits a little bit differently.
right now, I know,
Now,
I was
given
just
what's
thinking that
happening-
we're not gonna
given-
be here
given-
next month.
Given what's happening at the national level, it just all hits
Good thing
a
we don't get
little
paid
bit
for it,
differently.
so.
Recommendations on continued existence.
Sorry, I don't know if I can interrupt. What do you mean on the national?
Well, all the cuts being proposed by the new presidential administration.
I was looking at this.
Well, yeah, I know, but I mean, so the last point on this is recommendations on our continued existence. In other words, why should we exist versus versus the city council abolishing us?
Oh, so because of the DEI one cuts, does that mean that you guys are gonna dissolve?
No, we don't cost the city anything.
Oh, sorry, I
Yeah,
wasn't.
no, we don't get-
No, it's not a budget
Volunteer.
issue.
Volunteer position.
And we don't really, we've never invoked DEI for anything that we're doing. What we do falls under the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA. Even though disability would be a part of diversity, never really thought about
And
that.
equity.
And equity, yeah, never really thought about that because they're interpreting that exclusively as race, well, race and gender.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm not sure how those.
No, that was great.
That is more clear and specific guidance from the city council. So in the past meetings, did city council give direction on, here's projects that we're working on
When requested,
when requested?
I think that's, maybe I'm speaking out of line, but I feel like if we request, they come and present to us. If we don't request, then they don't. So,
And the updates are upon request.
So you, I made an extra copy accidentally, so you could have that. And so these were the resolutions establishing us back in 2015 by Mayor Jim Cleaver. So you have the actual resolution, I think. Why did you send these to us? Publishing 80 now to be
I think
resolved.
somebody really requested.
Yeah,
Does hereby adopt the notice. The resolution shall be effective. And then on the back, okay, is this just notice?
yes, well, it was on the brochure. Somebody asked
Oh, well,
What
that's different.
the
then.
resolution
I
was,
think they were just
that it was
requesting
referring
the
to.
justification for our services.
And then I don't have an extra copy of this, but she sent resolution 2015-55, signed on the same day. So neither one of these are what established the commission. Yeah, you're right. You know, I'll just add this for the record and I'll pick my words very carefully. The first several years of the commission's existence was spent advocating for the city to name an ADA coordinator, as is required. And the problem was the title was passed around among existing employees. We concurred that it wasn't necessarily a full-time position, but they would just pass it around. Different employees carried the title,
So there was no
but
accountability.
didn't do anything. And over the course of the years, especially these early years, the staff members who would come to our meeting from community development, from public works, I mean, it was like whoever was available, the city manager's secretary for a while, which is here, yeah, Judy Smith, ADA coordinator, that was the secretary for the city manager. So she carried that title. They were just, which obviously she wasn't really, she was just a clerical worker, for the city manager. She wasn't doing. So we spent years advocating and advocating and advocating for it to get into the budget and have somebody. That's as far as I'm gonna take that conversation on the record. But, okay, so neither one of these are the document which established the commission, but I'm assuming this is the suggestion for changing. Commission would benefit from more clear and specific direction. And for the benefit of our council member, I would just say that one of the challenges from my point of view has been both on the part of council members and often on the part of many, many, many commission members. They kind of look at this issue of the ADA and our existence. They just boil it down to curb cuts. That's it. Tell us where to put in curb cuts. Like there is no other topic regarding disability, disability equity, whatnot, other than curb cuts. Tell us what we should do to the physical environment. And that's been really limiting. I would call attention at the bottom of the agenda to our vision and mission statements, which we also worked on for months when we were first formed. Our vision is a community where people of all abilities and ages are fully integrated and valued. And our mission to advise city leaders and residents on the reduction of barriers and the promotion of full accessibility through education and advocacy. And since those were adopted, we've never changed them. So. Now I'm tired of hearing my own voice. Any thing we think we can pass, because we can't adopt this, but that we should pass along to Nikki that could be added to this or
I
fleshed
think
out?
if we're smart about trying to stay within open meeting laws, Nikki will watch this and take from it what she will.
True, which is why I'm asking you. Anyone else have any other ideas?
I don't have any input at this time.
It's possible she can't wait till our April meeting. I don't know if the mayor gave a deadline. I thought it was the end of
I thought
March.
it was like next week.
Yeah, our next meeting, I believe this will be
The next council meeting,
the next council meeting. That'll be on the agenda,
fourth Monday.
the review of the boards and commissions.
My guess,
March 31st, and she said it was.
something like that. I think that, I do think that there's plenty to glean from all of our conversations so far. And I imagine that she might just have to send it out to everybody and see if we approve via email.
We might have to do a special meeting.
If a vote is necessary. Otherwise, just approve it yourself, Constance. And I'm glad she took the lead on this, because if we were trying to compile
Generate
this,
that today.
I'm not sure it would be any better, and it very well might be less than what's on here. Although I do recall discussing all of this in the last, few meetings here.
I think she's got it on paper for the most part.
I assume she and Leah must be at a training or something, because they can't both be sick. This is,
Or have prior knowledge that they wouldn't be meeting.
I mean, this is the first time ever that they've both been gone.
One thing you might consider, just because it was brought up earlier, is this last 4 years, make this something in the last year. Just because I did make your point about, there's only a few bullet points, this is last 4 years.
Well, the only thing that was reaching back that far was the first heading, wasn't that?
Yeah, but we do, because we do it every year, ADA transition plan, because there is a transition plan that they hired a consulting company out of Meridian. Anyone remember the name? It started with a V, Truist or something. They hired a consulting company to create the transition plan, and it's supposed to be like a broad plan. Here's what the ADA requires, here's where the city is, here's everything that has to change to get fully into compliance. And then there's a requirement that every year you create an action plan for that year. Okay, this year we're gonna do whatever. They've handed that to Public Works, and Public Works usually chats with us about it.
I think I hear what you're saying, and I think if Nikki can hear us, maybe just modifying the verbiage a little bit to say ongoing for the past 4 years or something like that, just so that it doesn't look like we had to reach back 4 years to show cause for existence, but yeah, I'm fine with that. And if we end up voting via email or especially assigned like Zoom meeting or something, I'll make myself available. We'll have to figure that out. But I do imagine that we need to have something established and in place before their council meeting.
If we need to vote on it, then I think it's a week prior.
Oh,
put out the notice
gosh,
of the
about
agenda.
publishing, I think Nikki probably would have pointed that out in the email. I can't be there, but you guys have to do this. So we'll leave that in her hands. Mr. Counselor, remind me your name again.
Matt.
Matt, that's what I
Matt
thought.
Wright.
Same as over here, Matt. Okay. Piggybacking on my comment about sometimes, and sometimes we do it to ourselves, that we are only looking at curb cuts or those kind of physical things. Ignores the so much else that's in the ADA. And again, when we started in 2015, we were kind of ignored by all the departments, and the whole issue was kind of ignored. So we've raised consciousness a lot. So the library has done many things, both structurally and with their collections for ADA. You know, you have, well, the city council itself has adaptive equipment for hearing impaired people. They can request earphones and all of that. The Parks Department has ordered, has playground equipment that is adaptable for disabled kids and people. And while that's a physical thing, that doesn't fall under public works. And you could like just, I'm sure police and fire have done different things. And so we applaud all the different departments for having their consciousness raised and doing these things. It's just that it doesn't really all exist in one single location. And, you know, we're just happy when Dustin Johnson comes and visits us from Public Works, but even that's just one section. So, and as we've said over and over, we can't make anything happen. We just suggest and recommend. But a lot of these departments are just doing it on their own because they're now aware of things that they weren't before.
That makes sense.
I mean, technically, I suppose if you had an ADA coordinator who didn't do anything else, she or he would collect and compile all of those initiatives from all of those departments. But,
Right.
you know, Nikki's busy, everyone at the city's busy, so.
Wasn't that something that we discussed before? Was that each program would give an update on the things that they have accomplished, and then that would go into the.
Some kind of master report.
Mhm.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot, but you know as well as I do, we've only been marginally successful. Public transit has been wonderful. Suzanne Senior has visited us multiple times, at least like twice a year, 3 times a year. She'll come and give a report on the Dial a Ride program and other sorts of things. So, which exists exclusively for people with disabilities, that's just right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
just met with her. She's very dedicated.
But other departments, we haven't always been successful in communicating with. But that's okay. People are busy.
Sounds like, I just wrote it down, being able to more broadly communicate the ADA needs throughout the departments. Sounds good. Like a prevent siloing of this information. Just more people understand it. And then also communicating back, with this group. And the meeting for the periodic review of advisory boards and commissions is the April 7th working session.
We have a little bit of time.
So a little bit more time, but our next meeting wouldn't be until, what is this, second Thursday, or second Thursday, so.
But it would still give us 2 weeks to,
More.
well, if it's the deadline's the 31st.
To turn it in.
Mhm.
Oh, I see. Anyway, yeah, that's good.
Any further discussion?
We're not even in an active meeting, truly.
No, we really are. We just can't vote on
I feel
anything.
like we're not supposed to be.
When
I can't fight that
I
feeling.
remember when I read in, the very first time she sent me those emails and stuff, I think that there was something stipulated that we couldn't even really discuss anything on topic unless we had a quorum, but I could be wrong,
I feel like that's true,
but.
but I struggle with open meeting.
I don't know why not.
Because
It's an
it's one of
advocacy.
those things like because we could be talking about this at the bar and then we come up with a decision without the public knowing or without the input.
We haven't made any decision.
No,
Can't
but,
vote on any
but
decision.
we
And
could
we are
ultimately
recorded.
make the decision to make a decision.
If you had an audience filled with people.
Right, and
And they've come to their comments, you would want to accept them.
we are recorded, we do have, we have community citizen, so, and a council member, so I feel like we're covered, I just,
So I'm gonna go ahead and adjourn.
Well, wait a minute, you have other future agenda items? Do we have anything to tell Nikki we want for April?
I would feel more comfortable if we emailed them to Leah.
Fine, it's no different.
yeah,
It's not a decision, it's just a suggestion.
I know,
But,
but I feel like without a quorum that.
it's not a decision, it's
I feel
just
like
a
it's not a
suggestion.
meeting.
I do believe that no matter what, our most pressing future agenda item is making sure that we have this taken care of so that we're, because we,
That'll be done by our next
yeah,
meeting.
that's right.
You can do that, but I mean, I think your qualms are misplaced. This at least is in a public setting. You suggesting, I'll just send her an email. No one else sees that. So, even though that becomes a public record.
Well, and also that's. Okay.
But okay, if you don't have I don't have anything
I don't have
off the top of
anything
my
to
head. So under commissioner comments, I'm just gonna hand out an invitation. You're already coming.
Better be.
An invitation to the Interlink, that's where I work, lunch next week, Thursday at this time.
Oh, great,
We're a
thank you.
week away. And, it'll be fun, although they keep making changes.
Okay.
You're gonna sit with me?
Hmm?
You should sit with me at the Interlink luncheon.
I actually just scheduled a meeting for next Thursday.
Cancel it.
at noon.
Oh, that's too bad. Are they gonna feed you?
Right.
We have food.
Likely not.
And,
I will.
for the record, Matt, and in case you care, the mayor's gonna be there. Dan Johnson's already RSVP, so.
Good.
We are very appreciative of that.
Well, I'm going, so now adjourn?
Yeah.
All right. Apparently, otherwise burned down right now.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
Glad it was good to meet you.
Yeah, good meeting you.
So,